Here by Jake Hamill.
My man.
Happy Monday.
Little bro show, man. How you doing? Happy Monday to you.
Once again, we have a gorgeous day out.
It is. I mean, this weekend.
It's perfection.
I mean, first full NFL regular season weekend. Beautiful weather. You
stayed up late watching Josh Allen.
I did. Well, Josh Allen is my fantasy quarterback.
Oh, okay.
So I was getting ready to go to bed actually because they were down, I think, 14 going into, I think, the fourth quarter. And I was getting ready for bed and thought, okay, well, that's it. I'd gotten enough fantasy points. And my phone just kept lighting up. Every time you get a touchdown.
Man,
bzz,
there you go, Jake.
And I thought, he's getting a lot of touchdowns.
I heard he had some choice words for the fans that left early.
Yeah, have a little faith, he said. Have a little faith.
I have to say this. I'm going to admit something I'm not proud of, and that is that I don't know if this goes back further than when you were in Chicago, but you remember a Bears hero named Mike Brown?
Sure.
Okay. They had a comeback in the fourth quarter, and my girlfriend at the time and I had left Soldier Field.
No.
Like 5 minutes. I mean, it was like, there's no way they were going to win. And again, don't leave games early.
That's actually one of my fears, is like missing out on that game. And I think in the history of Buffalo, that's got to be one of the best games in recent memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and also too, like, it wasn't against a nothing team. It was against, Lamar Jackson, against the Ravens. Like, this was
couple Super Bowl contenders right there.
That game last night was better than most Super Bowls we've gotten recently.
All right, Jake. Well, I'm glad you made it awake for the show this morning.
I did.
You got up with us, and here you are on Chicago Now.
Yes, sure.
I don't know, this is kind of an existential real estate question, Jake.
It's a question I ask a lot.
You actually do.
I do.
Even though I mean, can I disclose you're a homeowner?
No, I'm a renter. I'm renting.
I thought you owned your place.
No, renting, man. Because I'm always, every time I look into owning, I'm like, because I look at how much I pay in rent, and then I kind of try to find something to own, and but also, like, I'm living by myself.
Pull the trigger, man.
I know.
Okay. Here's the question. The existential question is, should you rent or buy in today's housing market? With interest rates still high, rents climbing, it's a tough call. We're going to, in about 20 minutes, we're going to be speaking with a finance expert. I'm so glad this question actually applies.
I genuinely, like, I'm going to be selfish and take over most because I wanted, because it's always so tough, because it's never just the mortgage. It's the down payment.
Yeah.
It's the taxes.
Right.
It is the HOAs. For a lot of these, because I've looked into a lot of the condo buildings downtown, and the HOAs can sometimes be as much as the rent itself. And it's just like, okay, well, if I'm going to be paying, and I get the idea of, like, it's an investment, and these are all things that I'm going to be bringing up.
I can't wait to hear this conversation, because we actually, in the last couple times we've had our other real estate expert on, who's great. He has talked about how enticing the River North.
Yeah, well, he said right now, Streeterville.
Exactly.
And he said right now is the pendulum is about to swing in the direct.
You might want to be on high alert, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that we're going to be speaking about, and we've been having Marielle Fricchione, she's an infectious disease doctor from Rush Medical Center, on a couple times to talk about these headlines, these medical headlines that sound like they're from, like, a Charles Dickens novel.
Like they'd be something from like 1800s, something from 1800s London.
Yeah, exactly. And brain-eating amoebas.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we've only had one case, brain-eating amoeba. I believe it was out in Utah.
Sure.
And nothing like that since. But there's something in the news now. It's a parasitic infection caused by what are known as kissing bugs. So we're going to be speaking with Dr. Fricchione about that. All right. And then we also have such a great guest coming on later. Brittney Payton, everybody. She's a member of the Fox 32 family. We all had the pleasure of working with Brittney for multiple years.
Sure.
I was fortunate enough to overlap with her for 2-3 years, and then you worked with her for
I worked with her for a long time. We were desk buddies, and it's so funny. I was just on a live shot a couple of weeks back, and she hasn't been a regular member of Fox 32 for a few years now. Her and her husband moved to Arizona.
Yep.
But I still get asked about it, and I always say, like, she's not only just the nicest person on camera, off camera, she's exactly the same. And here's what
for the entire Payton family.
That's very true. And here's one of the things I find most interesting about Brittney. Obviously, her father one of, if not the most legendary people that's ever stepped foot in the city of Chicago,
him and
right?
Jordan.
Exactly, yeah, exactly right. But you could know Brittney for years, and if you didn't know that Walter Payton was her father, you would just never know, because she's never going to brag about it. Like, if you want to talk to her about him, she's more than happy. But like, she's not someone that name drops, in an obnoxious way.
Even though she totally could.
She told her, I would.
You are shameless.
I would. The way I tell people I know you, and the way it has gotten me to the front of the line.
Exactly. All you got to do is drop that Ponce card.
Yeah, I'm saying, do you know who I am? They get the table ready at the restaurant. I say, do you know who I know?
Like Ray Liotta and Goodfellas.
Exactly right. Yeah, so, they bring me through the back.
Yeah, through the kitchen.
Yeah.
The reason that Brittney's going to be on later is this is so cool. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, in partnership with the USA Today and Payton Productions, they are launching a new Pro Football Hall of Fame Awards of Character program. Because we all know the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. This is an extension
the coolest
of
trophy,
that.
by the way. That is such a cool trophy.
It's amazing. Arguably more prestigious than the MVP. Arguably.
I think so.
Okay, I mean, in terms of the game of life.
Sure.
All right. So we're going to be speaking with Brittney a little bit later in the hour, but before that, speaking of name drops, Mark Hamill. You've been dropping his name all morning, Jake. Tell us the latest out of him. This is a gear of Mark Hamill that most of us have never seen. Have you even seen this?
I mean, the only other sort of comparison, it's Mark Hamill playing a bad guy, and the only other comparison that I could give you is that he voiced the Joker on the Batman animated series for a long time. He was the voice of the Joker. So in that sense, but like in terms of physically seeing Mark Hamill, in fact, it's actually the first F-bomb he's ever dropped in a movie. He drops an F-bomb in this new movie. There's a new movie coming out on Friday. It's called The Long Walk. It's based on a Stephen King novel. Actually, the very first novel he ever wrote. Now, the first novel ever published was Carrie. That's famously his first book. And it was years later, The Long Walk, because he had so many kind of books in the can that he had to create a pseudonym and named Richard Bachman. Richard Bachman. So The Long Walk was actually published as a Bachman novel. And then later, once King sort of got to the point where he was like, I'm just going to put books out. I don't care how many I put out at a time. It came back out as a Stephen King novel.
Jake, Jake and I both happened to read this book in high school. I remember it was called the Bachman books.
Yeah, the Bachman books.
There were 4
exactly right.
little novellas
exactly right.
One of them was The Longest Walk, and the premise of this is it's a group of young men in a dystopian, apocalyptic future, and there's a game, and they have to walk down the road for as long as possible without ever going slower than 3 miles per hour.
In the book it was 4. And then for the movie, Stephen King said, you should probably change it to 3 because
4 is kind of fast.
4 is a lot. 4 is a lot. 4 miles an hour for, we're talking what, I think they walk like, like I think they walk 2 or 3 days. That's a long time because you get 3 warnings, and then the third warning you get shot.
You're gone.
Yeah.
This is almost like the Squid Game.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly. Well, funny enough, the movie is directed by a guy named Francis Lawrence, who directed the Hunger Games movie. So there's kind of that commonality. But you're a Stephen King fan. One of my favorite sort of little Stephen King facts, if you've read his books, is that all of his books kind of exist in what they call kind of the same universe. And what I mean by that is you'll read It, and then you'll go read Pet Sematary, and one of the characters from It will show up in Pet Sematary. Or
wait, across all his books?
Across all of his books.
So even like your Stand By Me's and your Shawshank?
They all. Now, in fact, if any of his books, when his characters go to prison, they talk about, he got shipped up to Shawshank. They all kind of exist. So I love this idea of all of the characters existing in the same. And the reason I brought that up is because I'm such a Stephen King fan, I knew that Star Wars had been, listen, if I'm going to interview Mark Hamill, I'm going to find a way to bring up Star Wars. Star Wars has been name dropped in the works of Stephen King over the years. And the way I interpret that is, well, if Star Wars exists in the world of Stephen King, then that must inherently mean that Mark Hamill exists in the world of Stephen King. And I brought that up to him, and what that resulted in was a really great story about Yoda.
I don't know if you know this, sir, but Stephen King has referenced Star Wars a few times in his work throughout his career in both It and the short story Cycle of the Werewolf, Yoda is mentioned, which means if Star Wars exists in the Stephen King universe, Mark Hamill exists in the Stephen King universe. So I'd love to ask you, which classic King novel or story of his would you be most interested in finding yourself wandering through? Because you're somewhere out there.
I saw it. I don't think I read the book, but I saw the 2 film versions. The television version they did back in the 90s, and then the recent films. And I don't remember Star Wars being referenced.
It's in the novel. Beverly talks with a character named Mrs. Kirsch, who is named after Mr. Kirshner, and a reference and says that Mrs. Kirsch speaks like Yoda.
Found someone you have, I would say.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It is just a fun little Easter egg, but that means you are somewhere out there, sir, in the Stephen King universe.
Yes, and you say in the other one he also references Yoda.
Someone shows up dressed as Yoda for Halloween.
So here's the deal. I'm going to find a way to bring up Star Wars one way or the other. But I appreciated that he didn't necessarily know that. He was a good sport about it. But this is crazy enough. Long Walk in theaters on Friday. A great movie. The second Stephen King movie he's been in this year. He was in a film called The Life of Chuck, which is, as of right now, what is it, September 8th, still my favorite movie I've seen so far this year.
That's a Stephen King
That's
story
Stephen King,
as well?
yeah. Now, he wrote it obviously a little bit later in life. That Life of Chuck is much more in the vein of like a Stand By Me or a Shawshank or a Green Mile, whereas The Long Walk is more in the vein of a Shining or a Pet Sematary.
This goes in theaters this weekend.
Yeah.
What did you get a
I saw it.
Of
yeah.
Do you have anything
I
without spoiling? You know, we mentioned the premise, but any early thoughts?
So it's incredibly well done, and here's what I can tell you. Even if you've read the book, there are enough changes to make it so that you don't know everything that's going to happen.
Okay.
But it's true enough, and it also, you see, you know, a movie like this, and you hear a story like this, and you just go, like I said, he was 19 when he wrote it, and you just think to yourself, how does a 19-year-old come up with something like that? It's just, I mean, whether you like his horror stuff or not, because I know a lot of people don't, you can't deny he's one of the great writers of all time.
Oh,
you know, anyone who has the ability to write It and The Shawshank Redemption, who has the ability to write Cujo and The Green Mile, you know, it's just, you know.
Talk about range.
It's, yeah, very much so.
I mean, Stand By Me, for example, is one of the great coming-of-age movies of all time, and that is, I mean, there's some macabre stuff in the fact that there's
the whole thing is a body. The whole thing is a body.
Yeah, and I believe the novella was called
The Body. Yes, it was
called The Body. But that's not really. It's almost like a.
It's the
delivery mechanism.
Yeah, the MacGuffin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For these 4 boys' friendships.
Yeah.
Well, that is fascinating. I'm definitely going to be checking that out.
Do you have a favorite Stephen King adaptation?
I would definitely say Shawshank.
Oh, I mean that's.
I would definitely say Shawshank. I know I'm not alone there.
Yeah.
Stand By Me's up there as well.
Yeah.
So I'd say those 2.
Yeah.
How about for you?
He would hate me for saying this, but Kubrick's The Shining. I know he hates it because it's not. It loses the spirit of the book, and it loses what the point of the book is about. But because the book is supposed to be about alcohol recovery or about alcoholism.
Alcohol recovery.
But man, this Kubrick's The Shining just gets me every time, man. Gets me every time. You know, I went to my first drive-in movie experience on Friday.
How was that? That's great.
It was great.
Refresh my memory on what you saw.
I went to Chi-Town Movies and saw John Carpenter's 1978 masterpiece Halloween.
Oh, that's
fantastic.
Perfect.
We had a great time. Daenerys sat in the back of the Bronco with you know, you do the thing where, you know, you back the Bronco in and you open up the top and watch the whole. It was fantastic.
The drive-in, for those unfamiliar, did you say it's out in McKen?
It's off of Troop.
Okay.
Yeah, off of Troop. So I mean, 15-minute drive from downtown. Very easy. They had a double feature. The first.
I have been in this market since 2007, Jake. I didn't know there was a local drive. I thought you had to drive to the boonies.
No, man, very 15 minutes.
And is it the same old school? Okay, so my memory, I've only been once. I saw T2 Judgment Day.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yes, opening weekend with my dad. He let me see the R movie for that one release.
Come on.
And I remember the speaker for the audio pulls right up to your, like, the, is it it was like the rear view mirror.
Well, normally I always saw images of the speaker like clipping onto your window, like you rolled your window like halfway up and you
that's right.
On. No, they don't do that now. Now you have two options. You can rent like a boom box and tune it in. So it's like it's tuning into an FM station.
Okay.
So you tune in, you can rent the boom box.
So it's piped into your car.
Or you leave the battery on in your car if you trust. You know, I wouldn't do it for The Godfather, but for Halloween's 90 minutes long. You just leave the battery on and then just tune it in.
Godfather.
Yeah.
You're out of battery.
Yeah, you're out of. Yeah, someone's gonna jumpstart you to leave Chi-Town Movies. But no, we had a great time, and it was a lot. It was a double feature. We skipped the first one. Shrek was the first one. We didn't really, you know.
Yeah.
But we
no disrespect
to
Shrek.
The love of God for the Shrek fans out there. But no, we pulled in for Halloween, and we had a great time.
That is awesome, and that actually kind of segues into one of our trending topics this morning.
Yes.
Just hit the Reddits, and that is, for people who are visiting Chicago, this question was posed, and I actually want everyone back home to think about this one. Can you give me your worst advice about visiting Chicago? The subhead is, what are some terrible tips to give someone you hate about visiting Chicago? Now, on the flip side, someone is saying, they've only got 2 free days in Chicago. I would be like, hey, go to the drive-in.
That's such a great question, but I've never really thought, because I have so many, people come to Chicago and I have so many things for them to do, but I
stay downtown. Go nothing against Navy Pier, but it's been done.
Sure.
Would you go like, hey,
I would
go to Navy Pier, visit the Bean?
Yeah, or you can totally figure out Lower Wacker by yourself. It's really easy. Rent a car. It's self-explanatory. You'll go down there and it'll be super easy. You'll be fine.
You will be fine. Yeah. Don't even bring your phone.
Listen, if Batman can figure it out, you can definitely figure it out. Yeah, that would probably be the worst advice I would get someone is you can totally figure out Lower Wacker.
Another question that was posed was, and nothing immediately came to mind to me, but somebody was looking for an understated, not too expensive steakhouse. Does anything come to mind to you there? I had thought about perhaps, I don't want to say this is underpriced because I think it could get pretty pricey, but in terms of the atmosphere, have you ever been to Twin Anchors?
I've not. Where is that?
Twin Anchors is up right near St. Michael's. It's right in Old Town. It's just north of North Avenue. I want to say right around Sedgwick and North.
Sure.
It is this old-time place. You have to go. Bring a date there, Jake. Old school. It's been around since like the 1920s.
I like
it's got that old school.
I like that.
I
love that. Yes.
Old school vibe. They do an amazing rack of ribs.
Yeah.
It's like it's a casual environment.
Yeah.
You will have like baskets of stuff and like I seem to remember kind of the gingham pattern. Yeah. Red and white, but the product there is unbelievable. Does anything else come to mind to you in terms of an affordable, accessible, not too downtowny?
I'm trying to think, because whenever I associate like a steakhouse with kind of the acceptance that it's going to be a little of it. Brittney Payton just walked in. I had no idea she was actually going to be in studio, and the way my heart just started, I thought she was coming via Zoom, and the way my heart just started
goes pitter-patter.
Come on. No, it's so funny because I guess to answer your question, I wish I had a sexier answer for you, but I so associate like, I mean, this is why it's a good question, but I associate a steakhouse with just the acceptance that I'm going to have to spend.
Spend a lot of dough.
Spend a lot of dough.
Filet.
Yeah, so I appreciate, it's a great question, and I appreciate the suggestions because it was nice to know.
Yeah, okay, so Twin Anchors is what I would say on that. And then, Jake, I'm going to just ask you as a downtown resident, somebody is wondering about going from car culture to public transit. So I'm guessing they're moving from a place, perhaps like Texas.
Sure.
In fact, they are. This Redditor is moving from Texas to Chicago, is considering whether to ditch the car. You've come from Texas.
I did come from Texas. And
what is your advice there?
And I lived here for many years without a car. And then just within the last year, I picked up the Bronco. I got to be honest, I love having it. I love being able to. Now, I don't have a ton of reasons to often go out to the burbs, but now it's sort of like running to the airport to grab someone, or like if we do need to go out to the burbs, or the ability to, like, if we have to meet a cameraman, or the cameraman's got to get out to Naperville, and then I got to pop him out there. Like, it's nice to know that it's there. It is not a necessity. If you were living downtown, I think one of the great things about the city is that if you, with a can-do attitude, you could walk anywhere and you can get your steps in. Like, I had a screening at the Alamo Draft House last week near Wrigley, and it was a beautiful day. I think it was 4 miles, and I just went, I'm gonna walk. I long walked it.
Nice, keeping it over
And
3 miles an hour.
and I just thought, and so I, but then again, in February, I'm getting in the car. And
I'm going to agree with you there. Like I say this as a proud Chicagoan, but with my tail between my legs, because I've been to European cities where you definitely do not need a car.
Of course.
I've been to New York City where you definitely do not need a car. I don't think Chicago has earned the status of car-free. That's my own take.
You can get by.
You can.
You can get by, but it does restrict you, you know.
The L is not the subway system. In New York, the subway, I mean, you look at the map of the subway in New York, it looks like spaghetti.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally looks more detailed than that Chicago grid map there. The lines go everywhere. It looks like a sloppy plate of spaghetti, whereas the L map, you know what I mean, there's swaths of the city that you can't get to.
I mean, whenever I lived at Navy Pier, it would take me 20 minutes just to walk to the red line. Like, and that's, you know, that's...
Right. And with regard to the winter, too, those things hand in hand, I don't think Chicago has earned the non-car city status. So that would be my advice from the Redditor from Texas.
And
all right.
We tell people to get out of the, we so often tell people to get out of the city, and that's just harder to do if you're relying on Metro time.
You can do it.
And
you can do it. There's a learning curve.
Exactly right.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, another existential question here, renting versus buying.
I've got so many questions.
Today's rent prices going up. They're up 3% over last year, and also interest rates keep hovering in that 6 to 7% range. We're going to talk it through with a realty expert coming up after this. Welcome back, 10:23 on your Monday morning, beautiful morning here in Chicago. Every other Monday, we talk to finance expert and the author of Never Date a Broke Dude and the CEO of the Flex Financial, that's key, I love that title, the Flex Financial Freedom Academy, Pattie Ehsaei, who joins us now via Zoom. Pattie, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing so well. We're so excited to talk with you.
This topic that we're going to tackle today, which is renting versus buying in today's housing market, is so relevant for this gentleman right here who rents.
I rent.
He rents downtown in Chicago. Get us started here, Pattie. The housing market obviously is a challenge, particularly for prospective buyers this year. But I understand rent is also going up. It's up, what, 3 to 5% typically in certain areas year over year. So what's the bottom line here, or is there one?
Well, so there are certain things that you need to consider when deciding whether you're going to buy or rent, and I'm going to give them to you, okay? So the first one is you need to do a cost comparison. Just go online. NerdWallet, for example, has a great system to tell you whether it's more economical for you to rent or to buy. So that's where you start. But you need to consider some of the cost factors. So when you buy, do you have 20% to put down? There's going to be a lot of maintenance costs. So do you have that money to buy? If you don't have the down payment, then renting may be your only option. Or if you don't want to get your money tied up, renting may be a better thing for you to do. The next thing, market trends. Which city do you live in? Now, you guys are lucky. In Chicago, it's actually better to buy, because rent prices are skyrocketing. So if you're going to stay somewhere between 5 to 7 years, buying in Chicago is a much better deal than if you were to rent. Lifestyle needs. Are you going to be staying here with 5 to 7 years with your family? Are you going to be growing into this home? Or do you not know where your job's going to take you, for example? So if you're not sure where you're going to stay, renting is a much better option. And lastly, as you indicated, interest rates. Interest rates are high right now. But this is a great opportunity for people who have the money to buy, because houses are sitting on the market. So you can get a great deal on a home, although the interest rates are high now, and refinance later.
You know, Patty, I've been looking around. You know, I rent downtown here in Chicago, and I've looked, you know, in keeping with the downtown life, I've looked at, you know, buying a condo or if that option might be good for me.
Right.
But then, you know, whenever I do the math, I'm like, well, it's not just that the mortgage is the same as my rent. There's also the taxes, and there's also the HOA on some of these buildings, which can be as much. And so I'm looking at this going, well, I'm basically going to be in the exact same scenario, but paying twice as much as I would be paying for the rent. Where do you fall on sort of the downtown buying of the condos? Do you find those? Could I turn that around if I needed to down the road?
Absolutely, especially in Chicago, the market is hot, so you can turn that around. But you also have to consider, when you're renting, you're not building any equity at all, right? Your money is just going out the door, and you're not building anything for yourself. So although you may be paying a little bit more when you buy, even when you think about all the HOA costs, just know that you're building equity, and Chicago is such a hot market that you could definitely make it up when you sell.
Okay, let's say you have done that cost analysis, Patty, that you mentioned off the top of the interview, and you decide, okay, renting is what I'm going with for now. It's super expensive. Do you have any tips on how to perhaps get the most out of that lease or lower the payment, or any tips to minimize the damage?
Yes, absolutely. You need to negotiate. That's it. There's no shame in that game. Negotiate with the person or the company that you want to rent. See if they'll give you incentives if you pay a few months up front. See if there are any other renter incentives. And when you shop around, you can say, hey, you know what? I really want to live here, but in this building, this is what they're giving me. So can you match it potentially? So negotiate, shop around, and have those numbers so you can have them in your pocket in case you need them.
Patty, I want to swing back around to something that you mentioned off the top, which I think is sort of very relevant to those of us in television and never know where we're going to be, you know, every 5 to 10 years or so. How long does, if I were to buy, do I need to be able to hold on to that place for it to be worth it for me? Because we deal oftentimes in 2-year contracts, 3-year contracts, and you know, none of us ever truly really know long term. So that's also been a fear of mine in terms of buying. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll you know, plunk down money for this thing, but I might have to pick up and go to wherever in 2 years.
The rule is 5 to 7 years.
Interesting.
If you think you're going to be somewhere 5 to 7 years, and you gentlemen are so great, I'm sure your contracts are going to get renewed.
We hope so.
But 5 to 7 years is the rule.
Okay, that's good. That's a good rule of thumb. Now, if you do go with the buying option, you say to yourself, "Hey, my contract's definitely going to get renewed.
I'm
here for another 5 to 7.
I'm a legend,
and I've never owned a home before. I am a first-time home buyer." Are there things? It's almost the same version of the question I asked you about renting, to get the most out of that first home purchase.
Yes. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get pre-approved, because you need to know how much money you have to work with, and that will set your budget. After you get pre-approved, then set an entire budget for the home. You have to consider taxes, maintenance costs. All of these are factors. Again, there are a lot of online apps that will help you figure out what the budget is going to look like and see if you can actually afford it, okay? Next tip I have is live on that home budget for a month or two. See if you can take that money that you would be paying for the home, set it aside, and see if you can live within those means. And then if you can, then you know that you're ready to buy a home. Most important thing also is to monitor your credit. Credit is so important. Make sure you have your credit score ready to go and it's 700 and above. Otherwise, you're not going to get a good interest rate. And lastly, build your savings. Make sure you have 20% to put down, because if you don't, you have to pay mortgage insurance. And that's an extra cost that you wouldn't have to pay if you had 20% down.
Oof, wow. Are there any incentives for first-time buyers, in terms of getting that loan that the government's helping out with in any sense to maybe encourage people, younger people who maybe are making that jump for the first time?
Yes, you can get FHA loans, and FHA loans allow you to put in as little as 3%. But again, keep in mind that you're going to have to be paying mortgage insurance. So factor that into the cost savings or the plan. That's really important. And go on your state's website. A lot of states have some budget to help people buy homes, to help people buy property. So go on whatever state you live in, IllinoisState.com, anything like that. Look for home incentives, home buying programs, and don't sleep on them, because they can be great.
All right, Patty, I want to give people like an actionable first step here. If they're in the same situation Jake is, actually, we can pretend we're talking to Jake. I go home, I've got a free couple hours on my hands and a working internet connection, which I'm guessing you have. Yep. What do I do to do that side-by-side comparison to run the numbers?
Go to an app, for example, like I said, NerdWallet is great. Put in all the numbers, how much you make, what costs you have, what your budget looks like. Put in all the numbers, and it will easily let you know how much it will cost you to rent or to buy. It'll give you how much equity you're going to have, what's a better comparison. Those are all really there, readily available for you. And as I said, after that, you want to get pre-approved, just so you know how much money you have to work with. You may be thinking you can buy $1 million condo where the lender is going to be like, not so fast. You don't make that much money. All you do is you're on TV talking to people, so you're not going to qualify for that.
The amount of times I've heard all you do is go on TV and talk to people. She's not wrong. Yeah. So, Patty, I obviously understand the value of buying. My mom has been trying to get me to buy for years. Basically, if I'd listened to my mom 12 years ago, I would be 20 years into owning a place here in Chicago, and it would have been first rule: always listen to your mom. But I'd imagine that there is this stigma around renting where it's like looked at as like the failure to compare to buying. But is there a bit are there some situations where you're just like, listen, like I think you mentioned, if I can't guarantee I'm going to have this place for 5-7 years, where you just look at the circumstances and go, I'm sorry, your best case scenario is to just rent right now.
Yes, absolutely. Again, if you're not sure whether you're going to stay, if you need a flexible lifestyle, like, hey, I may be going to New York City to work or whatever, renting is a really great option. And there really is no shame in the game of renting. Let me tell you why. A lot of multimillionaires actually rent. And here's why. Because when you buy, you can expect an increase of about 5% on your money that you bought your condo or your house every single year. So you're making about 5% interest on that money. However, a lot of millionaires take that money and put it into other investments like real estate, like the stock market, which actually give them a higher return. So yes, ideally, if you're not using your money in big investments, things like that, buying may be a great idea. But if you need flexibility, and if you can do something else with that money that's going to give you more than 5% a year, renting is a better option.
Oh, okay. You got some homework, man.
I do.
You better be using that.
And
if you have
my
extra
mom
cash
is watching
flow.
right now, and she is, I guarantee you, she's taking notes.
Pattie Ehsaei, thank you for your expertise. Really appreciate it, as always. And we will be following Jake's journey. We know we will.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you, Patty.
We're going to get your contract renewed ASAP for 5 to 7 years.
5 to 7 years.
5 to 7 years.
Yes.
Okay, it is 10:34.
Put in a word for me.
Put in a good word for Jake. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, yet another scary medical headline. We're talking about something called Chagas disease. It is a parasitic infection from so-called kissing bugs. And we are going to separate fact from fiction with the doctor from Rush University when we come back. So stay with us for more Chicago Now right after this.
Bum, 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 bum.
Nothing.
Welcome back, 1037, and look who I have in Studio 32. How many years? Brittney Payton, everybody. Brittney Payton, formerly of Fox 32 Chicago, and she is back. You're always going to be part of the family here.
Oh, you guys are always going to be part of the family. It's so good to be back and just see everyone. It feels so good.
How long has it been since you've been back in studio? Because I don't think I was here the last time you were here.
Well, it's been almost 5 years since I moved out of Chicago. And then for that last year, we were all broadcasting from home. I was broadcasting from my closet because of COVID. So it's been probably almost 6 years.
And you've been in Arizona.
Yes.
For the last now, what, 4 or 5?
4.5 years, yeah.
Okay. Get us a little, before we dive in, this is so exciting. We're about to talk about a new collab between the Pro Football Hall of Fame and Payton Productions and USA Today. It's called the Pro Football Hall of Fame Awards of Character Program. But we're going to pause just for a second. Can you just give everyone a little update, a little top-line update on what you've been up to for the last few years?
Oh my God, just getting settled. My family and I have been in Arizona and just loving it, doing some different things here and there, but working on some different projects with my family and excited about this one that we're getting to present. And we've been building our house. So if anyone who's been through construction, we've been doing that for, it feels like a lifetime, but it's been 2.5 years. So we finally just moved my family into our new home. So it feels amazing.
Amazing. That's such a milestone to get to when you can finally get to that point where, oh, now I can unpack fully.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No more boxes, none of that
Dust
stuff. We're just
and
there.
contractors around.
Yes.
Okay, that whole thing. Now, I always see you and Jarrett, though, on Super Bowl Sunday, of course. What has that experience been like for you guys to be able to do that national audience every single year with presenting the Man of the Year award?
It's honestly, it's such an honor. We are so proud of it. You know, we think that my dad's been gone so many years, but the legacy that he leaves behind, and truly of all the things that he did in the awards and the accomplishments, the Man of the Year award truly means the most because of really what it stands for. We are so excited every year to be there, to work with the NFL, and to really recognize these amazing players and these guys that are doing so much to give back to their communities and just really making a difference in the lives of others. So yeah, they're all great players, but it's really about their character and the men that they are, and we're so excited to award that, and it kind of is what led us into this next project that we're working on.
Let's segue right into this. Okay. How did this partnership come about? Because it's between the Hall of Fame, USA Today, and then your own Payton Productions. How did these, describe the connective tissue here and how this all came about?
Well, you know what, it was really, my family, I unfortunately couldn't make it, but my mom and my brother, my family, they went back to the Hall of Fame last year when Steve McMichaels was being inducted. And it was the first time that they had been back to the Hall of Fame since my dad was inducted. So it was my first time, my mom going back, my brother, he brought his kids, and they just had such an amazing time. It was like seeing family again. And so there was a lot of talks going on, and the Hall of Fame had mentioned really wanting to highlight my dad, highlight characters, and highlight everyday heroes. And that's kind of how it came about. And so the wheels started turning, and you know, how can we do this? How can we take the Man of the Year and really honoring people for their character, their integrity, their commitment, for going out and making a difference in their communities? And that's how this character award came about. So there's actually there's going to be a whole presentation that's going to be at the actual Hall of Fame, and then we are working with USA Today as a partner to get the word out there. We want people to go on, nominate, whether it's a nurse, a firefighter, a police officer, a teacher, a coach, or a veteran that is making a difference in your community, someone who's just outstanding values that you want to nominate and that the Pro Football Hall of Fame should nominate. And then my brother and I are actually going to go out and we are going to tell 12 stories. We're going to feature these individuals, share their stories, get to see them in their environments, and also what it is that makes them what it is that makes them such a difference, making an impact, and really excited about it.
That sounds
everyday
so
heroes.
Cool. Yeah. So there's going to be 12. Are they going to be like nominees, and then you'll unveil the winner each year,
so
or
there will
each of
be
them
12 winners each year.
Oh, okay.
So in those categories, those 6 categories, we are going to have a female and a male that is going to win from those categories, and they will be nominated by their peers, their family members, their coworkers. We will have a selection committee that will go through, and then we are going to unveil those winners throughout 2026.
Okay, so it's a rolling thing.
Yes, each month there will be a new winner.
I'm going to run through the categories once again so it's burned in everyone's brain. Military veterans, teachers, nurses, police officers, firefighters, and athletic coaches. This is cool. Like, was there how did the brainstorming process work? Because these, I mean, I love these categories.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Well, you know what? It felt like we said, with the Man of the Year, we get to honor, obviously, an athlete and someone who's going out and making a difference in their community. But to us, as a family, you know, that's what I think my dad was so proud of, his work in the community, his work giving back, and making a difference. And there's so many, like I said, every day, as I call them, heroes, who are making a difference in the lives of others. They're not celebrities, they don't have all the fame, you name it, but they're doing something to continue to make an impact, and we need that. And I think for my brother and I and my mom, we just really wanted to go out and be able to share those stories. You know, working in this environment, it's exciting for me to kind of get back and help produce and do these interviews and get back out there, but really just wanting to share what we call like stories of sweetness, a little bit of sweetness in the world. There's so much happening today that's, you know, crazy, whatnot, but we want to be able to put out some content that's really just positive and sharing some really uplifting stories, because we could always use that.
I love it. Now, with regard to kind of the final product, you mentioned that these are going to be unveiled on kind of a rolling basis. Can we expect like a mini documentary on all of these people? Is it going to be like a half-hour special on each? And how are you going to pull this? What will the final product look like for the viewer?
Well, we'll put together a feature segment for them. So it'll be probably about 5 minutes feature segment for them. And with our production with the Hall of Fame and also USA Today, so they will be on all of their channels. They will be on YouTube, and we're hoping that they'll also be on some other networks as well. But can't say that yet. Can't say that yet.
Management is taking notes right now.
But no, so we're excited to feature all those. We'll have smaller format ones as well that will be able to be put out on social and things like that. But the longer feature pieces will be on YouTube and hopefully on some other networks.
One
as
of
well,
the things,
partners.
if you'll recall, when I joined Fox 32, I was in my podcasting days where I was a Lyft driver.
Yeah.
And I would tell the stories of the people who ended up in the back seat. There's a parallel here. Have you found? Everyone has a fascinating story.
Yes.
It's just a matter of like unearthing that story,
Yes.
right? Like you got to do some digging sometime. I mean, some people might think, oh yeah, I'm just like a worker in Chicago. No. You've got a story. You've got
Yes.
challenges you're facing. In terms of this nomination process and unearthing these stories, tell us a little bit more about the process itself. What will it take for someone, let's say I know an athletic coach or a teacher in my community, what will the process be like? And I mean, I could see myself writing, you know, a few paragraphs on someone.
Yeah.
So how is that going to work in terms of unearthing?
And that's what we're looking for. So at the ProFootballHallOfFame.com, you can go under the awards for character. And so we are looking for submissions. So that's why we're really starting now. We want people to really get out there and start getting those submissions so we can all start going through them and picking out those winners or those stories that we think really stand out. So we're hoping to get tons of them and hopefully continue this and feature more, but really looking for those people that have integrity, character, their courage, who are out there just spreading humanity and, like I said, really making a difference. So we're excited to see as those stories come in. We've had some that have started to come in that we've kind of already, wow, you know, this is great. So the more and more submissions, the more and more people, if there's just someone that is in your life, in your community, like you said, whether it's your teacher or it's your doctor or a nurse that you've seen do something that you feel is really incredible, we want to hear that story, and we're really excited to tell them. So it's going to be enjoyable for us going through, and hopefully our job is really hard picking the ones to feature, because there's going to be so many. That's
I already know
really
it's going to be hard. It's going to be excruciating to do that. It really will.
Yeah.
I understand that the honorees, the monthly honorees, are going to get kind of a surprise knock on the door moment. Tell me. Well, I know we don't want to like spoil anything, but tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we're really, you know, one of the great things about the Hall of Fame is when those nominees, they're all kind of waiting for that knock on the door to know that it's their call, their time to be called up into the Hall of Fame. So we want to emulate that in a way for these winners too, for something special for them, knowing that, you know, you truly stood out of, you know, all these submissions and everyone all over, that these 12 people really went above and beyond. And so we really want to do something grand and fun to honor them and make that a special experience. And so, of course, you know, the Hall of Fame is the best at doing that kind of surprise, not knowing that they're coming and getting their call to the Hall of Fame.
I love it. I mean, every time I see that video where they get the call and
it's amazing.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Brittney, so awesome to see you. Welcome back home. This will always be your home.
This is always my home. I may live in Arizona, but Chicago, I am a Chicago girl through and through. This is my home, and it is always so awesome to be back. So thank you guys for welcoming, and it's amazing to be back in studio and
You
see
will
all
always
you guys.
be royalty in this town, Brittney Payton. Thank you for being here again. It is Pro Football HOF. ProFootballHOF.com/awards of character. The nominations opened up, what, a few days ago?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, I forgot to ask. What deadline are people on?
Just on Thursday. No deadline as of right now. We
Okay.
will start rolling these out, the actual segments, the beginning of the year. So get them in. Give us your submissions. We can't wait, and we're so excited. And I got to say, go Bears tonight.
Go
'cause
Bears
I'm very
tonight?
excited about that, too.
You gonna be at the game?
I'm going to be at the game.
Yes!
We're actually going to be honorary captains for the game. My mom, my brother, and I. So we are looking for a big Bears win on Monday night.
Monday night. Okay, the Payton family's going to be in the house. I feel a little bit better going into this game. Not that I felt bad. Brittney, awesome to see you.
So
Thanks for
great
being
to
on
see you.
Chicago
Thank
Now.
you
And
for
we're back
having
with
me.
we're back with more Chicago Now right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. So great to see Brittney Payton here for the game and to announce this amazing effort with the Hall of Fame. We're going to end on kind of a wacky medical note here, guys, at 10:51 on your Monday. There is something called Chagas disease, and this kind of follows, we're in like a pattern of wild medical stories of late. We had brain-eating amoebas to report out of Utah 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, somebody actually contracted the plague, and then we had this whole thing called screwworms, and now talking about a parasitic infection called Chagas disease. Okay, this comes from so-called kissing bugs. The infection has made its way to Southern California, and it can cause chronic problems, and it can even be fatal. So here to break down what exactly this is, and again, it's in Southern California, it hasn't made its way to the Midwest to our knowledge yet, is Dr. Marielle Fricchione with Rush University Medical Center. Dr. Fricchione, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Well, you're back once again. I'm just curious what we're going to be talking about the next time you join the program, because this has been kind of a wild streak of wild, exotic medical headlines. My mind is kind of blown here.
I know.
What exactly is Chagas disease? That, I don't know how close up of a photo that is, but those things up close look kind of menacing.
Yeah, they're actually about 1/2 inch to 1 inch long, so you can pick them out pretty easily. And as you can see, they have that kind of banding on the outside. But Chagas disease refers to a disease caused by a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi. We call it T. cruzi. And the kissing bugs get infected with that parasite. And then when they bite a human or an animal, then actually it comes out in their poop, and then the poop can get mixed in to the bite where the area of the bite was, and then that gets transmitted either to the human or the dog or some other animal.
Yikes. Okay, so what are the symptoms of Chagas disease, and how serious can it become?
The symptoms in the acute phase, what we call, which is if you get sick at all during the early phase, you might have flu-like symptoms. Sometimes if you get bit near the eye, then that gives you a swollen eyelid. And just as an aside, it's called a kissing bug because it usually bites at night, and it usually bites around the mouth or the eyes. So in the early phases, it's flu-like symptoms. Then weeks to even decades later, you might have symptoms of heart failure and problems with your intestines, because it can affect the smooth muscle even decades later.
So it can be contracted but not realized or diagnosed for decades?
Yeah, and the only time you can treat it is if it's recognized in the first few weeks in the acute phase. So it's one of the reasons why the CDC is so important, because they track where the bugs are. They track if animals are infected. They're the only ones that can test for it. And sometimes we have to get the medication from them. And that's the only way you can prevent the chronic problems, is by taking the medication early on.
Early on. So it's almost like, I mean, I'm thinking about Lyme disease, for example, and how if that's not caught early, it is like exponentially more complicating, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so this is something that we don't have to worry too much in Illinois. We've only found 1 or 2 of these type of bugs in the southern part of the state, and only half of any bugs that are around have the parasite in it, right? So there's a really low chance here. But like different kinds of ticks, like you mentioned, are coming into Illinois. These bugs might start coming into Illinois more. Or the dog kennels, which is what's happening in Texas. The dog kennels might be sort of run rampant with Chagas disease. And you don't know unless someone like the CDC is coming in and testing animals and people.
This is concerning. So in terms of, the headline, Chagas disease, someone was infected in Southern California. How new is this? Like how significant is this most recent development? Or is this just something that's been around for a long time, and like these other stories we've covered in the last couple of weeks, every once in a while there's a human diagnosis?
Yeah, it's a lot like the other ones. Like you said, it's a great question. It's been around for a long time in human history. They even dug up some mummies that had some of the parasite in it. So we know it's been infecting humans for a long time. It's mostly, in the past, it's been in South America, and it's really only in North and South America. But that's when we would worry about it more, is if someone traveled there and then came back. Now, Texas, we know, has a bunch of cases and has had a bunch of human cases. California has had a bunch of human cases over the past 50 years or so. But there's no surveillance for it. Not every state is required to report cases. And if you don't report cases to your local health department and then tell the CDC, we have no idea how many are happening.
Yeah.
So this is, to me, this is a really huge story about why the CDC is so important and why public health needs to be funded.
That underscores both those things for sure. Dr. Fricchione, before we let you go, what's your bottom line for folks here in Illinois? Do we go on DEFCON 5 alert, or are we kind of down in the yellow? Bottom line it for us.
You know, I think this isn't just a story about Chagas disease, right? This is a disease that comes from a bug that has a cute name, right? So it makes headlines. It's a kissing bug.
Yeah.
But that's not the story. It's not a risk here in Illinois. If you travel to places in South America or even Texas or California, it's good to tell your doctor about that. You should always protect your home from bugs and rodents getting in, so fill cracks, etc. If you're in rural South America, you should use bug nets over your bed. So there are ways to prevent it always. But if the local public health department or the CDC isn't telling you about it, you're not going to know when it's on your doorstep. And so that is the scariest piece to me.
Indeed. All right. Dr. Marielle Fricchione with Rush University. Thank you once again for your time. We always appreciate it.
Great to be here.
All right. Tia and Anita are up next with another hour of Chicago Now. I'm Anthony Ponce. Have a great rest of your Monday and a great work week, everybody.
Fox.
Thank you so much for watching Chicago Now. There we go. 11:01 on your Monday morning. How are you feeling this morning?
I am doing very well. It was Orange Monday on Good Day Chicago, so we're getting ready for a Bears win tonight. Yeah, it's an exciting day.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game. They're taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I think they have it. How was your weekend overall?
The weekend was great. Got out to Northerly Island for Uncle Charlie's cookout.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Babyface, El DeVarge, Charlie Wilson, Casey from Jodeci.
A lot of throwbacks.
Yeah. How about you?
But some good ones. I went to the Taste of Chicago yesterday. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing weather. Saw some beautiful people out there. It's still a little bit of summertime shy. I'm holding on just a little bit.
Mike says don't let it go because we're supposed to get some 80s this week. But you know what? In the evenings, you're starting to see some people wear coats now. It does get a little chilly in the evenings.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the 80s hold up until I get off on Wednesday so I can make it to the pool in time, my last pool hoorah. So we'll see what happens. But let's talk about what's coming up on the show. You've heard of all this stuff with AI, and now they're actually mimicking people's voices, which can be really scary and downright dangerous when it comes to our seniors. They're actually calling up our seniors, acting like a loved one. And yeah, we're going to talk to a cybersecurity expert about it and what you can do to kind of guard yourself from falling victim.
Scammers always seem to be like 1 to 1,000 steps ahead of everybody. So it's always good to have these discussions every now and then just to kind of see where we are with things, at least that we can tell at this point in time. And when you talk about things that you can tell, we're going to talk about a new renovation show. it's based out of Beloit, Wisconsin. Now, I'm from the sticks, so I kind of identify with this notion that if someone says your town is the worst, if you don't have the elements like Chicago, the buildings, the architecture, the Bean, and places like that, Navy Pier, that you can say, no, 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 look at these things. We're actually a great city. If you don't have all of those things, it's tough to kind of make a rebound off of that label. But there's a new renovation show that's building up Beloit, Wisconsin, and we're going to talk with the people behind it because it's a wonderful thing that they're doing to rename their hometown.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to them. Yeah, so I love that. And then we're going to talk to some people right now about really following your dreams. You know, it's never too late to follow your dreams. Sometimes we think age, you know, really is a number when it comes to our dreams, but that's not the case. And we're actually talking to two people behind a new film that is coming out. We have Mike Flynt, who actually made headlines. He returned back to the field at the age of 59. I'm talking football field. And then we have Emmy-winning actor Michael Chiklis, who stars in the film as well. Thank you for being with us.
Mike and Mike today.
Good morning. Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is an outstanding show. And the fact that you all are together here on the Bears home opener, I think is just perfect timing so that we can talk a little football with you. But let's just start, Mike, with your story.
Two Mikes, two bald guys, no way.
Yeah. We are winning all the way. Tell us about your story in general. Give us the short of how you, in real life, decide, you know, in your 50s, almost 60, to say, like, no, let me go reclaim this time.
Yeah. Well, it was a happenstance type scenario. It wasn't something that was planned out. I basically was kicked out going into my senior year in 1971, and 37 years later, I found out I still had a semester of eligibility left, and losing that senior year had become my greatest regret in life because of what it cost me from a standpoint of conference champions. I was a team captain, leader on that team, and they went 4-6-1 after I was kicked out. And so I went back, was able to meet with the coach, had a chance to try out. I made the team as a linebacker and became the oldest college linebacker in NCAA history. And so for me, it was, I knew I couldn't change the past, but I knew that if I could make the team, that I could change the meaning of my past. And so that's what I was trying to do.
So, Michael, let's go to you because you actually had to believe in this story, right, to even put this film together. How did you find out about the story? And then tell us kind of like the workings. How long did it take to actually make this film come to fruition?
Well, the script came to me in the form of an offer, which in my career, that's the rare thing. I usually have to break in the back window and any way I can to get my next gig. But this was wonderful because it came to me, and we're always looking as actors for that great story. It really starts on the page, and this was such an incredibly inspirational story, Mike's story. And you know, I don't know about you, but when I go to the movies, I want to feel something. I want to be moved, and this was very moving, and it's motivating. And you know, I made this movie at 59, which was the age Michael was when this happened. So he was 59 years old when he did this. You know, when my first question to him was, "Are you crazy?" And he said, you actually said to me, "Well, my body deceived me." So, you know, I mean, again, when you get to make a movie that entertains people, but also makes them think and feel and motivates them, that's special. And this is that movie. This is a movie that's going to make people feel like, hey, you know, I can do something about my past, my present, and my future. And that's what movies are all about.
Yeah. You know, I thought about this like as a former athlete. My body would have been the first thing I thought about too. Like, can I even do this at my age? But Chiklis, I do want you to address working with the person that you're doing a story about. You know, for some actors, it's like, I don't want their input because then I can't do what I need to do. And for other people, it's like, no, tell me everything.
I said to him today, I just talking to him about this 5 minutes ago before we came on, when I found out that Mike was going to be on set every day, I went, like I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to get a download from him and I was going to ask him a bunch of questions and then go through my process and then go to set every day and do my work. But so it was intimidating, you know, at first. But Mike is such a, you know, just a lovely man, and his wife Eileen he married up. Let's put it that way. and as did I. So I understand. So, you know, it ended up being a blessing that they were there, that because he was such a great resource, and I was able to, you know, turn to him and go, Mike, you know, what do you think about this or that or the other thing, or what happened when you did this? And, you know, that was the fun stuff. I don't know if the audience is seeing these clips, but, you know, getting out on a football field for the first time in 40 years, because I was the captain of my high school football team. And it was both thrilling and daunting. So I can't imagine, but at least I had a stuntman who could do those. You know, I did most and 90% of my football, but you know, there were a few shots there where, you know, I get blindsided and I could say to my stuntman, okay, you do it. Mike couldn't do that. He didn't have that luxury.
Yeah, but you know, Michael was amazing. He really was. And, you know, when I stepped out there in two-a-days and put that helmet on, you know, I had this confidence because I was blessed, and when I was young, I was never hurt. So I didn't have any baggage to bring back with me. And I was in great shape, but I'd never played football in a 59-year-old body before, and I didn't think there was going to be enough ice in Alpine, Texas to make it through two-a-days. And so that's the same thing that Michael experienced when, I mean, he was telling me these stories about these ice baths he was taking.
I got to tell you, the cold plunge makes 100 feasible. I got to tell you, you know, I had never done an ice bath, and man, let me tell you something. My eyebrows hurt while I was making this.
But they're so rejuvenating.
Yeah, but it was amazing. The next day, I'd be like, well, because inflammation. It took down the inflammation. I was able to get back on the field. But, you know, you do appreciate that 20-something-year-old body when you're 59 and, you know, you got big, strong powerhouses hitting you. You're like, holy mackerel, what's happening?
Let me ask you both this. During the filming, right, because I would imagine for you, Michael Flynt, you've never really maybe been on a set like this before. Was there anything memorable that really sticks out to you during the filming process that happened maybe behind the scenes that people wouldn't know about?
Well, to me, what immediately comes to mind was Michael and the mentor that he was, because we've got so many young, incredible actors in this movie that they would come to Michael. He always had time to stop whatever it was he was doing and encourage them, give them his professional opinion and advice on how they could do better at what it is that they were trying to accomplish. And he was always there. He was everywhere, all over for the whole shoot. And so there was so much more that I learned from, and it was the reason I went back was to help a bunch of young men that I didn't even know at the time. And so here in the movie, they're making the movie, and I'm watching Michael do what I did for those young guys 18 years ago when I went back to play. And so that was the takeaway for me.
It was a joy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Joy,
yeah, you get that. Well, for you, it was, but not everyone does that.
Isn't it what they say, art imitates life? And it's kind of like that actually what you were playing out was actually what was happening behind the scenes as well. You know, physically we change, but you had added wisdom too when you went back to play. So talk from that perspective of what you want people to learn or leave with, the message that you want them to take, other than just, you know, follow your dreams at some point in life or any point in life. What are some of the deeper messages?
Well, you know, for me, it was about overcoming a regret in life, and we all have those. But it's when you realize that you know you can't change the past, but if there's something that you can do now to change the meaning of that past, then you need to do that. And there's any number of things that you can do to do that. And also, you hear the expression that we're running out of time. It's never we're walking out of time or we're jogging out of time. We're running out of time. Don't wait until the experiences that you're having in life are a memory before you appreciate them. You know, all the pain, everything that I went through and going back to help those young men, I didn't waste any of it because I knew how fast it was going to go by. And so I just rejoiced in every single day and everything that happened, and thoroughly enjoyed it, so that when it was over, because there's no plan to have a movie made about it, but now this is something I can for the rest of my life watch this movie and think about those things that happened. But you know, for those that have things that you think that it may be too late, you know, I tell people, write your dream down in pencil, because more than likely it's going to change, but it's still your dream. Don't give up.
I love it. I love that. Before we let you go, so the film will be able to be watched September 9th in theaters, or 19th, I should say, in theaters. I want to ask you, is there a scene that maybe is memorable? Maybe you don't want to give it all up because we want people to go watch it, but a scene that people will be like, whoa, they left with something.
You know, films, I always call films a string of pearls, right? And if it's a great film, it's just a string of pearls, right? And so you know, rather than point to one specific scene, for me, this is a string of pearls. There's a lot of, and by the way, there's some very surprisingly funny scenes in this movie, as well as some deeply dramatic scenes and everything in between. You know, so the chemistry is there too between myself and the young men in this squad, and also with the great Mary Stuart Masterson. One of my favorite scenes that I shot with her, it was a confrontation actually that we had between each other. Just really wonderful actress, one of the best out there. There's just so many things that leap to mind, and that's, you know, that's what makes a great film, is when there are just a number of really, really memorable, great scenes in a picture, and this is one of those movies.
I love it.
There was one real life scene that is not in the movie, but I just have to tell you about concerning Eileen, and you'll get it, and your viewers will get this when they see the movie. When I told Eileen about me going back to try to make the team, she got so upset with me. She said, you know, I cannot believe at 59 years old that you want to go back and try to play college football. She said, I feel like I'm married to Peter Pan. So it was that kind of back and forth, but she ended up, when she got on board, she was 100% behind me. Never could have done it better.
As a wife should be. I love that.
That's true. That is true. Thank you all so much for sharing your story. Mike Flynt, thank you for sharing what you've been through in such an inspirational way. Mike Chiklis, thank you for doing what you do so well. Again, everybody, the senior from Angel Studios and Wayfair Studios is out on September 19th. Make sure you go see it. Get those tissues ready. I think this is going to be a tearjerker. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Cheers.
Yeah. I feel like I'm looking at twins. I feel like I'm looking at twins
and they
sitting
said,
there.
Go Bears. They know
go
what
Bears.
time it is. All right. Take care.
Have a good day.
We're back after this.
Leaf.
everyone. It's 2025, so of course, in just about every aspect of society, one of the growing threats or companions really has to do with AI. We talk about it so much every day. Specifically right now, we're going to talk about AI-powered voice scams, and we're bringing in our expert, Vijay Balasubramanian. Thank you so much for being here to help us out and help everyone out who's watching.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's start out with this. You know, we've heard of cases like the grandmother in Philadelphia where she was actually scammed out of some money. How are these people doing this, where they're literally lifting the voice of someone else and mimicking that person?
Yeah, so, you know, we've been doing this research for the last 8 years. And back then, there used to be just a single tool, and it would take about 20 hours of your voice to actually create a clone of your voice. Right now, there are over 570 tools, and all they require is 3 to 5 seconds. So if you think about anyone with a TikTok video, or anyone who's posted something on Facebook, or even, you know, something as simple as you answering your voicemail with your own voice, in any of these situations, you have enough to clone a voice. And that's what these attackers are using to essentially clone the voice of your loved one.
And you know, the interesting thing to me about that is when you talk about social media and things of that nature, most people would then think, oh, it's targeting young people, but it's also a great threat to seniors. You know, I think that years ago, we started to talk about seniors getting calls from people talking about like, oh, it's me, your grandson, I'm in jail right now, I need help getting out. How has that grown with the use of AI?
Yeah, how it's grown is, rather than it being just a generic voice or a simple text, it's actually the text of the grandkid. And what these attackers are doing are they're getting so good with these AI systems that they're going county by county. So they're picking a county, making calls to all the senior citizens in that particular county over the weekend. So, you know, it's a little hard for those people to really get to law enforcement quickly enough. And so what they're doing is they're making these calls over that weekend period. And on Monday morning, the senior citizens are showing up at the local law enforcement saying, I lost $10,000, I lost $100,000, I lost $200,000. It's crazy. Last year's report of this elder abuse, the average amount that the senior citizen lost was $80,000.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty much everyone's life savings. And so it's truly nefarious, but you're actually hearing your loved one's voice on the other end.
So let me ask you this, because they can do this, it sounds like a person's real voice. What are some things we can do to protect ourselves? What are some things that maybe grandma can do, grandpa can do to protect themselves from this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I do this with my parents themselves, is to first have a conversation with them, to actually walk them through the fact that this is possible, and to have a protocol when they get a call. Because a lot of what these attackers are doing is using the fear, the urgency, and the love that you have for your loved one in equal measure to get money out of you. So to try and tell them, hey, when something like this happens, hang up the phone and call me back on the phone number that you have. Because a lot of times what these attackers are doing are they're spoofing your phone number, or spoofing the phone number of the grandkid or the son or the daughter. And so calling them back often gets away from it. But, you know, a lot of these attackers try to keep you on the phone for that reason. So just hanging up the phone and calling back is one thing. The second thing is to have a protocol. Maybe it's a secret word. Maybe it's something like saying, hey, if you don't get me during this, this call this other person. So having an emergency contact that you can call. And essentially, as soon as you hang up the phone, your better sense prevails. And most senior citizens, when their better sense prevails, they can then say, okay, I was just about to wire $80,000, either in cryptocurrency or in some other way. I should stop to not do that. and that oftentimes avoids you from falling victim to that scam.
Let me interject real quick, because I have a follow-up question to that, because are these scammers, are they calling the landline? Are they calling the cell phone? And the reason why I ask that is because oftentimes when you get a call on your cell phone, at least these days, depending on your carrier, it kind of tells you in advance, hey, this could potentially be a spam or scam risk, is often what it says. Are they calling on the landline? Are they calling on the cell phone? And is there any technology that can alert you ahead of time that this could potentially be a scammer?
Yeah, so they are calling both on landlines and cell phones, and sometimes they're going through the difficult work of actually spoofing your loved one's phone number, right? Like when they get the phone number, they can spoof it. So what happens in a lot of these phones is if they get a phone call from your loved one, it'll actually pull up the details from your contact. So it'll actually look like your loved one is calling. So you actually need good AI to beat bad AI. And this is where, we are very invested. There are a lot of startups like us that are actively working with carriers, with social media companies, with enterprises to provide that good AI to help warn, the average consumer and senior citizens in particular, that when such a call comes, just don't rely on the phone number. Actually have some mechanism to determine that this is a deep fake call and this is an AI-generated call.
Yeah, and we should have mentioned, you are the CEO and co-founder of Pindrop Security, so you all are leaders in detecting this. Let's talk about specifically some of the things that you all have created at your company.
Yeah. So what we do is we are looking for these AI tools. Like I said, in the voice world itself, there are about 570 of them, and each of them is inhuman in a very specific way. So, for example, if you come to Pindrop, every conference room is named after a bad guy that we've caught. So we have Chicken Man and Pepe and Dava. One of these conference rooms is called Giraffe Man. And the reason it's called Giraffe Man is every time we analyze the audio of this particular fraudster, we quickly realized that the only person that could have produced this audio is someone with a 12-foot long neck, and their voice is thrashing between the vocal cords in that 12 feet. And so that's why he's called Giraffe Man. But we're looking for these anomalies. And the really cool thing is in audio, there are 8,000 samples of your voice every single second. So there are 8,000 times a machine can make a mistake, and we're picking up these mistakes. And as soon as we're sure that it's AI generated, we're helping organizations know that this is an AI-powered scam.
I know we're talking about AI-powered voices, but obviously people are using AI for bad. There's some people using it for good too, but there are some people using it for bad. Are there any other scams that you're starting to see outside of voices that, maybe people need to also be aware of?
Yeah, we're seeing scams all across the place, right? So we're obviously seeing this elder abuse, and we're seeing scams on voice. Scams on voice have grown by 1,300% just over the last year. And if you look at elder abuse, that's gone up by about 46% just over the last year. So last year, it cost senior citizens about $4.5 billion in fraud losses. So really, really staggering numbers. But we're seeing it show up in other places as well. We're seeing it in, for example, hiring. So we're starting to see a lot of folks, like, for example, in nation states like North Korea, use deep fakes to interview and become employees in every single organization within the US, so they can then start stealing money from that organization, install ransomware, install malware. So we're seeing that. We're seeing them impersonate C-level execs. We're seeing them impersonate IT users. We're seeing them in romance scams. It's crazy how many scams we're seeing that are being AI-powered right now.
Vijay, as much as this scares me, I think for young people who are trying to decide a next step, or if they're in college and they're trying to decide a major, this should also be super inspiring because it's such a growing area of need. Can you talk to that aspect of things? If someone is thinking, what do I need to do what you do? Or, not even knowing that what you do is a possibility for them.
Yeah, I think, at Pindrop, we call every employee superheroes without capes.
Yeah.
Right. And, it's an incredible mission, right? Because every time we have this Slack channel, which is called Customer Anecdotes, and we're often seeing stories of some senior citizens whose life savings we stopped from going down to zero. So it's a really, really meaningful mission. And I think, generative AI, every big transformation, be it computers or then the internet or then cloud and now AI, which is, probably the biggest transformation that we are experiencing in our lifetime, every time it comes about, security goes out the windows. I don't know if you remember when the internet first came out, you'd have all of these companies asking you to swipe your credit card, and no one wanted to swipe their credit card because it was a cesspool, right? Like you would lose your identity, all kinds of bad things would happen to you if you use your credit card online. Now that's gone away, and that's because there was a whole bunch of people who got into the jobs of protecting you on the internet, created wonderful fields like cryptography and things like that. So I think if you are looking for a mission and a purpose, companies like Pindrop and other companies that, in Gen AI, what are the security things that have gone out of the window? And I think it's a big one, right? Like Gen AI has blurred the line between what it is to be human and machine. And you need a whole bunch of smart people to unblur that line. And I think it's important for people to take that as a calling and join companies like us and others who are going after this fight.
That really is incredible. Let me just ask you, what is the major for something like this? Like, what should somebody major in?
Yeah, it used to be computer science, but you don't need to code because Gen AI, the beautiful thing about Gen AI is it allows people who don't have any formal training in coding to learn coding very quickly with a lot of these tools. And then, just have good ideas, right? Like if you have good ideas and you can think of an interesting way to solve this problem, what you need is the domain knowledge. That is, if you've spent time with senior citizens or if you've spent time with a particular victim group, you understand their way of thinking. So you actually are in a better shape to design the right solution. So for example, what does it take to help a senior citizen from avoiding victim to the scam? We are developing the technology to do it, but you might actually have the insights on what kind of software will be best suited for them. And so, I think the bar has really become low that everyone can actually become a software engineer or a coder. And so I think if you take up a major in computer science or any other major, but you have an idea, start learning skills in AI. So learn about ChatGPT and how you can code with it or how you can develop images with it, and start using a lot of these AI tools in your day-to-day life. And that's good enough because AI has leveled the playing field. All of us are learning for the very first time. I myself have a tutor and I'm learning AI, even though I know how to code. I've coded all my life. All of that has been thrown out the window. So I actually have hired a tutor for myself because I want to keep up to speed because I'm asking my team to reskill themselves. So I have to reskill myself as well.
Genuinely intrigued.
Very smart. All right, real quick before we let you go, where can people find out more about Pindrop?
Yeah, so just go to www.pindrop.com and it's as simple as that. You have all the resources there. If you want a role there, it's under the pindrop.com careers page. And we'd love to hear from you.
We can all go do what you do apparently now. The bar is low. No, I'm playing. Thank you so much. It really, really was a great conversation. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, the heroes who don't wear capes. We're back after this, everyone.
Fox Low.
it's big. Yeah, I feel like you feel like you're in a historic home, and because we worked really hard to like bring character in, but yet it is fresh and new. I want to show you the windows because you were in Pella with me. They really are awesome. You can open them, and it's an integrated screen.
Yes.
But when you close it, it goes down with it, so you're not looking through a screen, so it's clear. Go Pella. Gas fireplace. We just did a really classic like design with this, and did the board and batten on the top, just have a little detailed, and then so formal dining room.
That's amazing.
Absolutely love a good show about home renovation.
Yes.
And joining us now is Kanya Hendrick-Shue, and you're all about betting on Beloit. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Let's talk about this. This is amazing. So we were mentioning at the top of the hour, we were talking about how Beloit, Wisconsin was considered to be one of the worst cities. How did you find yourself there? How did you find yourself filming this show there?
Well, my parents started when I was very young, and they started their entrepreneurial journey and started their businesses in Beloit. They've just always really accredited Beloit as being the city that gave them their start. So they've just been committed to Beloit my entire life. So I was able to witness that. It's a special city, you know. It got a bad rap, as you mentioned. At one point, it was voted the worst city to live in our state. And it just, you know, really has been an underdog kind of story. And we are trying to breathe new life into this community that we know and love. And here we are. So we're doing a home renovation show and really just trying to share Beloit's story and progress with the rest of the country.
Yeah, you know, and your family has some interesting history as well. Just tell us about being a part of renovating the image, if you will, of Beloit, and how people have received you. I know, for instance, like my family lives in Waco, and they've seen like Chip and Joanna come in, and there's like mixed reviews where it's like, oh great, they've come in and, you know, renovated things, but at the same time, maybe there's some who are like, oh, it's a lot of attention for a place that really didn't get a lot of attention before.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel I'm very pleasantly surprised with the reaction for the show, because I was very apprehensive and a little nervous that there would be, you know, some negative pushback drawing the attention to our city. But honestly, at least locally, it's been really well received, and I feel really supported by the community. So that's been, you know, kind of surprising, but also just really great. You know, the show focuses a lot on this particular neighborhood and this one piece of our bigger mission to kind of recreate Beloit. And that, you know, I stepped into that role because of, you know, I have a history in real estate and design, and I surround myself with a really talented team of individuals that, you know, help do these home renovations. You know, you compare it to Waco, and I mean, that's obviously an amazing story, and I do hear that a lot. You know, do you think this will be a similar narrative to what the Gaineses did for Waco? I mean, you know, Joanna Gaines in my world is, you know, on a pedestal in her own. Yeah, she's amazingly talented. But yeah, you know, I hope so. I think it's great what they've done for Waco, and I hope that we have that same effect here in the state line.
Let's talk about renovating homes, because it's never easy. Renovating a home comes with a whole lot of challenges, especially if the home is older too. You just never know what happens when you knock down one of those walls. What has been the craziest thing that you've seen so far as you've been on this renovation journey?
Well, yeah, all of the homes that we're doing, that were very specific and intentional to this historic park neighborhood. So it's a really cool old neighborhood that's got these beautiful, all the architecture of the homes are different. So each project is extremely unique. There have been surprises in every single home renovation that we've done there. I mean, we found some, you know, creepy things on one of the episodes. I mean, literally heading up to the attic, this old finished or unfinished attic, there was a child's old shoe that, you know, looked like it was from, you know, the late 1800s, sitting there covered in dust and with a dead bird laying next to it. So that was quite startling. But yeah, I mean, there's always more. The projects always end up being bigger than we anticipate, every single one, you know, and that's just kind of par for the course with these old houses. Like you said, we never know what we're gonna discover until we really get into the walls, and we expect surprises.
Yeah, I saw some tears there in the video. How often do you have tears of joy, or, you know, obviously beads of sweat, but tears of joy from really taking something and making it brand new?
Oh, often. I have so much pride in these projects and my team. Everyone, you know, we work really hard at this on and off camera to bring these projects to completion. And so, yeah, I take a lot of pride. And when those keys are handed over, that is, you know, kind of an emotional journey for me, but in the best way.
Mm-hmm. So your mom, a self-made billionaire, is with you on this journey. What is that like, working alongside your mom?
I love working alongside my mom. I've learned so much from her, and, you know, just growing up, you know, even at the dinner table with my mom and dad, you know, real estate and all things Beloit were a, you know, common theme in our conversations when I was a child, and they've remained that way. So, you know, my mom, she's so hardworking. She leads by example. She's 78. She still shows up for work every day and is completely engaged. You know, I kind, you know, to get the show here, you know, we do mention her wealth, and to kind of get eyes, because Beloit, you know, her name is kind of synonymous with Beloit. But she was willing to do it. You know, she doesn't love to be on camera. She wasn't super excited about that part, and I kind of, you know, pulled her in a little bit, kicking and screaming. But she's been great. But she was willing to do it because she really does just want to change the narrative here, and to show people how special our community is and all the exciting things going on in this neighborhood and in our downtown. There's just all kinds of really amazing things happening in Beloit. So
an amazing start. But I would think that you're probably already thinking beyond. Are there some things that you can already tell you want to tackle next?
Oh, there's so many things happening in Beloit downtown right now. We've got some multifamily developments, some multi-use developments. There's 2 hotels in Beloit that our family built, and they are, honestly, it's surprising, because Beloit has kind of become, I'm trying to like for like a weekend, it's like a weekend getaway almost, because there's, you know, restaurants, and just our downtown has really started this revitalization. So we're in talks to build a 3rd hotel. So that's pretty exciting. There's, you know, other housing projects that we work on in Beloit too. You know, the show focuses heavily on these beautiful historic renovations, which I am personally so passionate about. But, you know, we've got a lot of other projects that are in the cooker right now. We're going to be doing like a lot of workforce housing here in Beloit. So there's a lot going on.
So it sounds like you'll have other seasons to come.
Oh, yeah, we're working on that, and I feel very hopeful that there will be, you know, a 2nd season of Betting on Beloit that will continue to follow this journey, because there's still a lot of the story to tell, and it's absolutely still evolving.
Well, we're certainly betting on you, so we'll be tuning in to Betting on Beloit. Thank you so much for joining us for a few moments to talk about this great program.
Let me ask you this real quick before we let you go. Where can people watch, and what days?
So the series has already aired on A&E, but it will be continues to be on the A&E app, so you can stream it on A&E, or you can check it out on Wednesday evenings on FYI, on the FYI network. It runs on the homemade block of shows there, so it's 7 o'clock Central. But yeah, it's there. But if you want to start from the beginning and watch the whole series, which I strongly encourage, then I would say to check it out on the A&E app.
All right, we look forward to season 2, and then season 3, and then season 4, and so on.
And going on the app and recapping it all.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking with you. All right, bye-bye. All right, we have much more coming up right here on Chicago Now, including we're talking all things ice cream. Malort ice cream.
I don't know if
I've never had Malort, but I've heard mixed reviews on it, so I'm really curious.
So anything goes.
I'm curious to see what it's like in ice cream. Maybe it's a little bit more tolerable. We'll be right back.
We've got about 13 minutes left in the program, which means we've decided to get kind of adventurous on the way out. I guess that's what you call it, adventurous?
Let's go with it.
I don't know, but a beloved ice cream brand from New York is making its way to Chicago. Van Leeuwen is giving us something specific for Chicago, and so Laura O'Neill is here as we do a taste test of Malort ice cream.
Yes. That's right.
Okay. So Laura, before we even get into the tasting of it, is this available at all locations in Chicago? Or in the stores,
this is
all
going
the
to be
stores?
available at our first Chicago location on Friday in Wicker Park, and then later at our Willis Tower location that will be opening in a few weeks as well.
Okay.
So yeah, we wanted to do something really special for our first store in the Midwest. We've been wanting to open in Chicago for many, many years, and when we learned about Malort, we knew that we had to try and do something fun with that spirit. So yeah, I'm excited to hear what you guys think.
Now, what's been the reaction thus far? Like, give us a preview before we dive.
Sure.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's sort of, I feel like at the beginning it's going to be like regular ice cream, and then it's really on the finish that you get that Malort hit.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a polarizing liqueur, but yeah, let's see if you guys like it.
I'm gonna taste it in a second. Laura, I want to ask you, because what I've always loved about your brand when I've purchased it in stores is all of the variety. There's so much variety. Why so many different flavors, and flavors that you can't just get anywhere else?
Right. Yeah, so we started in 2008 in New York City out of an ice cream truck, and we really started with like just the classics, just pistachio, strawberry, chocolate, mint chip, and we really nailed those. And then over the last almost 2 decades, we've really started to branch out with making some sometimes crazy flavors. We think For the most part, we always do delicious flavors. We did a Kraft mac and cheese flavor a couple of years ago that became totally viral. And that one sounds kind of crazy, but actually was really delicious. But yeah, we're just always, innovating, always excited to do new flavors. We come up with everything in our kitchen in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, where we started the company. And yeah, we just want to give everybody good ice cream and lots of different flavors.
So here's what I'm going to tell you.
One for Chicago.
That Malort is different.
It's not the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life.
It's different,
but it makes me want to try the others. Maybe we should say it that way.
Absolutely. And I think you guys have some honeycomb there, which is one of our best.
I need another spoon. I didn't want to double dip.
Yeah.
But I want to do a palate cleanse with some honeycomb.
Yeah, I need. Please bring us a spoon.
Honeycomb is actually a very, very popular flavor.
I got to get this Malort taste out. I will be honest.
It's strong.
Yeah, anybody that is watching right now, if you're going to try it, just brace yourself. But I do want to talk to you about these $1 scoops.
Yes. So on Friday, to celebrate our grand opening, we'll be doing $1 scoops from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the first 100 guests are also going to get a limited edition Van Leeuwen tote bag. So,
okay, you got something going with this honeycomb.
This honeycomb is amazing.
Good. The honeycomb is amazing. And see, I always like to tell people, my face doesn't lie. Even if even if my words came out and said one thing, my face doesn't lie. So I tried to hold my words for a moment, but my face said a whole lot. But this is really good.
Yeah. Really good.
That's really good.
Let me go ahead.
How many flavors
that
do
was
you
legitimately
have?
Good.
How many flavors do you have?
How many flavors?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So in the freezer in the store, you're going to find about 32 flavors, but we've made hundreds of flavors over the years. You can get our pints in grocery stores, Whole Foods, Target. We're in Fresh Time, the Fresh Market. We do 4 seasonals every season, so we just launched those a few days ago. We've got an Italian hazelnut, we've got a pumpkin cheesecake, we've got a vegan pumpkin cinnamon roll, and then we did a passion fruit sorbet, which is really delicious as well. I recommend that one with a scoop of vanilla.
Let me ask you, so you're opening up your first location in Wicker Park. The next one will be at Willis Tower. Why Chicago?
Yeah, so we've had our sights on Chicago for a long time. It's a great city. It's like obviously a big food city. And we have a lot of fans there too. We've had people asking us for years. And it's just been about finding that perfect location or locations. So we're very excited. We've, long time been a New York brand and LA, and now we're in 15 other states, but we're very excited to have finally found a home in Chicago, and we can't wait to open the doors on Friday.
Yeah, and I see this is, you have vegan-friendly options as well. And so you have your 100th location, and I'm sure that's because of all of the variety that you all have, that you've been able to get to 100 locations. But just talk about the significance of that.
Yeah, so I mean, as I said, we started with a truck in New York City in 2008. We started our business with $60,000, and we didn't raise any other money for 10 years. And since then, we've raised modestly. We've been scrappy. I started it with my 2 co-founders, Ben and Pete Van Leeuwen, the namesake of the brand, and it's just been sort of slow and steady, and we're the last few years we've really started to expand the growth, and we're in about 15,000 freezer doors around the country in grocery stores. But yeah, it's no small feat to us to be opening our 100th store, and we couldn't think of a better city to be celebrating the occasion.
I've had your vegan ice cream, and I want to say it doesn't taste vegan at all. Sometimes you have vegan flavors and they kind of taste a little bland. Yours, that's not the case. You mentioned that there's 30 plus inside most stores that people can get their hands on. How many different variety flavors will you have in the Wicker Park location?
Yeah, I think that store will probably have around 30, if I remember correctly. And then, yeah, a bunch of those will be vegan. We just launched a strawberry matcha latte in vegan. We had that as a dairy flavor as one of our specials, and it went completely viral. It's also in pints. And then we wanted to do something really special and buzzy for the vegan and dairy-free guests as well. So that one will be in there. And yeah, there's really something for everyone. We do root beer floats, we do sundaes, we're doing house rolled waffle cones. So yeah, you can get it all at the Van Leeuwen.
And is there some significance to the timing of this?
Yeah, because it's getting cold here, and they usually say people in Chicago don't really go to ice cream spots when it's getting cold, but.
Totally. Well, I mean, as a New York brand, we've definitely proved out that we can be successful in a city that gets properly cold.
Yeah.
Maybe not as cold as Chicago, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually in one of our LA stores right now where we have good weather almost all year round. But I don't know if this is the same in Chicago. I hope so. But when the weather starts to even get slightly warm in New York, there's lines out the door for ice cream. So at least your scoop won't melt in the winter.
Well, we're certainly hoping for the same success for you here.
And Laura, I was going to say, you know, in Chicago, I'll say this really quickly. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but in Chicago, you know, born and raised here, there are the brands that we're used to. We're used to going to these said brands. Someone that may be watching right now that hasn't ventured out outside of their Chicago favorites, why do you think they should try your brand and your flavors?
Yeah. So our mission was to make good ice cream that makes you feel good. When we came up with the idea for Van Leeuwen, we sort of looked at what ice cream was available, and there was a lot of ice cream being made with gums and fillers and stabilizers. And we thought, you know, what if we make ice cream the same way that you would make it at home or in a good restaurant? And we did that at scale. And I think, you know, we've never had like very deep pockets for marketing and PR and that kind of thing. So it's all been about the product. And I think when people taste the product and it tastes good and it leaves them feeling good, I think they're going to be excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely try other ones apart from the Beloit. But do have a taste of the Beloit.
You know, when you said ice cream that makes you feel good, I was like, I don't know about that Malort one. I don't know. But I could see it going viral for sure, with people wanting to give it a try, even if the viral videos are just people's reactions with their faces. Much success to you. Much more. 100 more stores and on.
We should try it one more time, Anita.
Go ahead, girl.
We should give it a go. I just feel like maybe it'll be less bitter because my palate is already used to the bitter. No. It's something that people should try. You know, it's different. It's different.
It's different. Strong.
Yeah, it's very strong. But I'm strong, so you know what? I can take a little strong.
You know what? Too. As a woman,
and we do as many tastes as you want, so you can try it without having to commit to it.
There you go. As a woman-owned business, it gives us even greater pleasure to just say congratulations to you, welcome you to Chicago, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much, T and Anita.
Thank you.
Right. Take care.
Hey, you guys got to try this Malort ice cream. It is something. It's something. I'll say that. It's something.
It's something.
It's something.
Yeah.
I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. It's something. Just brace yourself. Have another flavor on hand to kind of make you forget that you had the Malort first.
The honeycomb
is something
right there.
All right. I don't know why this is showing up. Oh, it's not showing up on our screen. Okay. We have something else on our screen right now that threw us completely.
These are the